Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another episode of CLR Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers. I am a board-certified criminal defense lawyer, and today we are reacting to Laura Oglesby. Oglesby is a 48-year-old woman who stole her daughter's identity to start college. Now, she was separated from her daughter. First of all, identity theft is kind of a... People sometimes think of it as a victimless crime in a sense because, you're doing things kind of under the radar and it doesn't feel like you're really hurting somebody, but you really are, actually. But she was estranged from her daughter. Now, this is just strange stuff. So she's a Missouri woman facing jail time after she admitted to stealing her estranged daughter's identity. And so let's just kind of go through some of the things that she did. She pretended like she was in her 20s. And in order to secure student loans, she enrolled in college and pursued her sexy co-ed fantasies. In other words, she wanted to pretend like she was, in her 20s and live a life of being in her 20s. However, when you do a couple things, when you engage in identity theft, that's one thing. When you all of a sudden go get loans for college in your daughter's name, not only is that identity theft, that's also loan fraud, and it's a federal offense. Depending upon how much money, I'm going through this video, and you can see this is a picture of her. She's 48 fucking years old. Who the hell would believe that she was in her 20s? And you can look, if you look at the video, you can see on her forehead she's got some wrinkles. You got wrinkles around the mouth. But when you put a filter on, and all of a sudden you start engaging in social media, and so it says here, 48-year-old Oglesby posed as her daughter for more than 2 years, fooling the federal government, which isn't hard to do, and locals in a small college town. So she's probably putting on tons of makeup on because, if you look at this picture, there's no way in hell she looks like she's anything but in her 40s. Let's go to the next one. So here she is. No doubt that she's got a filter, or if that's probably not even the same person. But you can see girls just want to have funds. Get it? Funds. A local police chief told the New York Times everyone believed it. She even had boyfriends that believed that she was 22 years old. Could you imagine your own blood, your mother or your father, using your identity? And it's just a pain in the neck to clean all that up because, if her daughter went to go to grad school or do anything else, she'd probably be denied because that stuff would be on her credit. All right, now here's a picture of Oglesby. She is facing 5 years behind bars after pleading guilty to one count of intentionally providing false information to the Social Security Administration. Because one of the things she did is she got a Social Security number, in her daughter's name. And that's who she is right there. There's no way in hell anybody could take her as 22. But when she's hitting up college guys, guess what? A stiff has no conscience, right? And so these guys, they don't really care. If they're hitting it, they're hitting it, and probably not inquiring too much. So when you engage in this kind of behavior, it really is insidious. And the fact that she, takes somebody's identity is one thing. The fact that she took her daughter's identity would be considered an aggravating factor. So even though she's probably looking at statutory max of 5 years, in all likelihood, she'll probably get 18 to 24 months, maybe a little bit more. The amount of money that she got from her scheme probably wasn't all that much. It probably under $100,000. And I've got a case that's about, if it's under 250 with no criminal history, guidelines are probably 18 to 24 months. So she's not going to get a whole lot of time. But she'll be on supervised release after she gets out of prison, and she will go to prison. And you know, it's kind of interesting. Anyway, it really is just striking. I mean, I can't imagine being 22 years old and all of a sudden finding out the chick you're dating is 48. You know, and when you're 22, 48 just seems ancient, right? When you're 48, 22 seems like it's pretty nice. That's the difference between, you know, when you grow older as a guy, there's a wider variety of women that become attractive to you. However, a 48-year-old person dating a 22-year-old person, if it's a guy, probably ain't that cool in the sense that he's doing well, but she's not. So it is. This is just news of the weird for today. So this woman, Oglesby, she not only got a Social Security card in her daughter's name, she got a driver's license. She wound up living with another family, saying that she was her daughter and 22 years old. She created a Snapchat account, and when she, you know, putting on the filters, we know what that does, right? And that's one of the things you guys should look out for. Make sure before you even meet somebody, if you're chatting with them on any kind of social media, make sure you see the real them. Okay, let me see you without the filter. Oh, okay. Tell you what, I'll see you next time. You know, no. And then the amount of fraud, I think she agreed to pay back like around $17,000. She had some of it in federal student loans. She stole some of her daughter's money. And then when she was initially contacted about it, she denied it. And then she broke down and, I guess so, blah, blah, blah. You know, this is just a funny story. But it really isn't funny because imagine that being your child. Could you imagine doing something like this to your child? You know, it created havoc for her child. And everybody in town, I mean, she created a whole separate identity. You know, and there was really no need for her to do this. It's just interesting to see how some people create enormous problems for themselves. And, you know, it's really... First thing I would do if this was my client is get a psych eval, because all the synapses are not firing upstairs. So this is kind of hilarious. It is just remarkable when you look at this to see how somebody could do just like, you know, she wanted a different life. She wanted to be her daughter. She wanted to be in college. She wanted to be hitting guys, you know, who are her daughter's age. And at 48 years old, that bespeaks of some kind of psychological problem. Wait, I think they're coming to get her now. Anyway. So this has been our reaction to Laurel Oglesby. 2 years. 2 years she was doing this. And she hasn't been sentenced yet, but she pled guilty. Missouri woman acting like her daughter, 22 years old, 48 years old. So I just thought I came across this story, thought you guys would think it's interesting. You know, because one of the things about criminal law is that we're students of human behavior, and we see all kinds of stuff. And a lot of it comes from psych. You know, it's either drugs or psych, you know, one of the two. Or, you know, somebody's just evil and it is what it is. But this was a psych issue as I see it. She's got some real psychological problems, and the first thing I would do is have her get a psych eval. So this is Bruce Rivers, Criminal Lawyer Reacts. If you are watching this, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, sign up for Patreon. If you're on there long enough, we'll send you a hat, and we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Notice she's walking away. Now, he's on his own property. There's a thing called the castle doctrine. If you're in, when I say in, I mean in your home, not on your driveway. If you're in your home, you don't have a duty to retreat. He is wigged out because someone's calling him saying they're trying to get money out of him. I'm going to send somebody to you and I'm going to kill you. Here's why this is a scam that is detached from whoever's running it. They tell the Uber driver, you're going to go pick up this package. And she's scammed too. But he thinks they're working together and thinks that his life is in jeopardy. I really believe that. But at some point, you have to stop and wonder, what would a reasonable person do under the circumstances? Now, if they catch the guy who ordered that Uber, guess what happens to him or her? Whoever did this is responsible for murder. It would be felony murder, which means, it's like second-degree intentional murder. It's about the same level.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And it's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, your very own, and you know who you are, your very own personal board-certified criminal defense lawyer. And today we react, along with our content genius, who's behind the camera, behind everything, Michael Rivers. So we're reacting today to an 81-year-old man who got charged with multiple counts of murder. And we have a video, and it's going to be a little bit graphic, but the actual shooting is not on the video. But the reason why we're showing you this video is because there's a lot of people that want concealed carry. A lot of people, when they get their concealed carry, they do some things they shouldn't do. So we're going to kind of school you on the theory of self-defense when it comes to your home, when it comes to guns, and the like. So, but before we get to that, I know you guys are kind of following my grandma's Instagram, and let me just tell you, she has got 34,000 followers. She's almost surpassing us, but she doesn't really know how to engage with her audience, so she's hired this other company, and we want to protect her, so she got onto eforms.com, got a business agreement, and she's the most savvy basement grandma you've ever seen in your life. So we've got, if you needed a power of attorney, you can get one of those on eforms.com. You need a business agreement, any kind of rental agreement, any kind of legal form to keep you out of court and out of my office. That's what you need. eforms.com. If it's good enough for grandma, it's good enough for you. Okay, let's just read the article from CNN. An 81-year-old man pleaded not guilty to multiple counts of murder. You wonder if it was just a single act. Why are there multiple counts of murder? A lot of times there's different variations of murder. There's murder, there's intentional murder, there's murder 1, there's with premeditation, there's murder 2 with intent but not premeditated. There's unintentional murder 2, there's murder 3, with depraved heart. There's manslaughter. So when you're charged with multiple counts, it's throwing the kitchen sink to catch something. Let's say somebody says, well, he don't think he really intended to kill her, but it was reckless. Well, that could be a manslaughter. So that's why they do that. Now, this shooting, this old guy was, 81. Is that old? I suppose. Yeah, you can call yourself old if you're 81. Another charge is Wednesday related to the shooting and the death of an Uber driver. Now, he mistakenly believed was working with a scammer attempting to extort him. Now, he got a phone call, and they threatened to kill him, and he thought this Uber driver was sent to his address to pick up a package. I'm telling you, the elderly are targets. I got a call the other day from a guy who said, hey, look, I'm calling you to just find out if this is a scam or not. That happens to me all the time. I get scam calls all the time, and I love keeping these fuckers on the phone. I just, what's your name? My name is Jack. Jack what? Jack Meoff. Whatever. You keep them on the phone, then they realize they just spent 5 minutes with you. I suppose it's 5 minutes out of my day, but I get a kick out of it. Anyway, but I got a guy that called me, and he said, I just want to find out if this is a scam or not. He says, I just got a call from a bail bondsman. The bail bondsman said that he knew you, and he said if I need to send him $12,000 or whatever the amount was. It was a large amount for bail, and to bail my son out because he was in jail. And he knew my son's name. I said, it's 100% a scam. And then he called me later and thanked me. Because it was a scam. It was 100% scam. And guess what else they can do? Sometimes they can get your son's voice or your child's voice. I don't know how the fuck they do that with AI. But they can do that. And so you got to be really, really careful. Anybody that calls you to say that they're with the IRS and to come down and you know, go to a Walgreens and get some gift cards and that's how you can pay your warrant off, that's a scam. Anytime anybody asks you for your social security number over the phone, don't fucking do it. It's a scam. Anybody asking you for numbers, like account numbers, anything like that, a bank will never ask you for numbers. So, you know, I feel bad for this guy, but so let's just watch this news coverage of it, Inside Edition. Ooh.
She was unarmed, and they both were victims of an elaborate scam. Les Trent has more, and we warn you the video is upsetting.
This terrifying video shows an elderly man.
So at this point, he's already shot her in the leg. And you can see she doesn't have any weapon on her. Or certainly not threatening him with a weapon. Notice she's walking away. Now, he's at his own property. You know, there's a thing called the castle doctrine. If you're in, when I say in, I mean in your home, not on your driveway. If you're in your home, you don't have a duty to retreat. But the level of force you use and your belief about the threat that's being posed to you has to be threat of great bodily harm or death, and it has to be reasonable.
And pointing a gun at an Uber driver. She had driven to his home to pick up a package. And she is backing away because he...
The other thing is, on self-defense, you cannot instigate.
...has just shot her in the leg. 61-year-old Lolitha Hall cries out for help and frantically tries to explain why she's at his home.
Yeah, I know what you're after.
I know what you're after. He's got, you know, I feel bad for this guy because he got scammed and he's afraid for his life.
Cam and ends with the homeowner shooting her 2 more times.
I need the sheriff.
We had a shooting here in Minnesota. I didn't represent the guy, but it was a shooting where these 2 children, well, children, they were, you know, 18 and 20 or whatever. They were adults, but they were young kids as far as I'm concerned. They would break into this guy's house, this old guy's house, and they were stealing stuff constantly. So he parked down the street and sat down in the basement and waited and waited and waited. And all of a sudden, they break into his place. And the boy is walking down the stairs. He shoots him in the legs, falls down to the bottom of the stairs, finishes him off right there. Then the girl's waiting for him outside, and she comes in. She gets shot. Then he tells the cops. He calls the cops. He says, "Then I gave her a good finishing shot right here." I mean, well, fuck. That's just stone cold execution. Neither one of them were. Both of them were. I think were doing drugs and that kind of stuff, and they were stealing stuff. And but this guy. You know, and there's a part of us that says, fuck them. If they break it into your house, you have the right to shoot them. No, you don't. Where do you think he is? You think he's sitting on his lazy boy, eating Cheetos in his basement, waiting for the next guy? No, he's not. He's in fucking prison. He got, I don't know what he got for a sentence, but he got the rest of it. He was an older guy, so he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison. Why? Because he was an asshole. You know, you can't do that. So this guy is an old curmudgeon.
It's real quick out here. There's been a shooting. I shot her in the leg the first time, and I shot her in the shoulder.
William Brock tells 911 that he shot the Uber driver because he had just been threatened on the phone by a total stranger and thought they were working together.
Guy on the phone was trying to get money out of me. He was telling me he was going to kill me and the family and everybody else around.
You can hear on the 911.
So now let's just ballpark this a little bit. He is wigged out because someone was calling him saying they're trying to get money out of him. I'm going to send somebody to you and I'm going to kill you. They probably told her, and see, here's why this is a scam that is detached from whoever's running it. So they tell the Uber driver, you're going to go pick up this package. And she's scammed too. But he thinks they're working together and thinks that his life is in jeopardy. I really believe that. But at some point, you have to stop and wonder, what would a reasonable person, that's usually the word language that you see in the statutes, in the jury instructions. What would a reasonable person do under the circumstances? This guy, if you gave him a 5-year sentence, that's probably a life sentence. But what would a reasonable person do? And was the amount of force that he was using to repel the attack reasonable? No, it wasn't. Because what is she doing the whole time? Is she attacking him? Not at all. Sir, I'm just here to pick up a package. Yeah, I know what you're here for. And he probably has an honest belief that his life is in jeopardy.
911 call, the wounded woman pleading for help.
Help me, please.
So why did the 81-year-old Brock believe the Uber driver was there to harm him? Investigators say it appears they were both victims of a scam.
Cops say the elderly man received a call from a scammer threatening his family and telling him that a relative had been arrested. The scammer ordered Brock to pay $12,000 or else. Cops say at the same time, an Uber driver, unaware of the circumstances, received instructions through the Uber app to pick up a package at Brock's home in South Charleston, Ohio.
I mean, it's kind of, I don't want to say an ingenious plan, but I mean it's a clever plan. But look what happened. Now, if they catch the guy who ordered that fucking Uber, guess what happens to him or her? Whoever did this is responsible for murder. It would be felony murder, which means it's like second-degree intentional murder, so about the same level, which means it's not life without parole, but it's awfully close. The person who's doing this scam would likely be on the hook for felony murder. And what felony murder is, causing the death during the commission of a felony. And the whole scam here is a felony, right? The whole trying to extract $12,000 out of somebody for bail money and threatening their life, that's all a felony. The threat's a felony, the scam about the $12,000 is a felony, and the death as a result is felony murder.
Morning, new body camera video showing authorities on the phone with the person they believe is behind the scam that led to this deadly confrontation between an Uber driver and an Ohio homeowner last month. The new video showing investigators at the home of 81-year-old William Brock after he fatally shot 61-year-old Lolitha Hall. Brock says he believed Hall was involved with scammers who had repeatedly called him that morning demanding $12,000.
So if you have some people in your family that are elderly, keep an eye on them, and you inform them over and over again about these scams.
A detective speaking with the supposed scammer.
May I ask who I'm talking to?
Yes, this is the officer speaking.
Okay, what officer?
Yes.
No, I need to know what officer, sir.
You're going to be in trouble.
Okay. Let me ask you this. The female you sent over here, you know who she is?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well, she's been in an accident. And this is actually an officer. It's Detective Cruz with the Clark County Sheriff's Office.
The alleged scammer saying he'd meet with authorities but never showed up.
Big fucking surprise there. That is so stupid. I'm an officer on the law and I'm going to come and get you. Why would they do that? What they should have done is said, look, they should have had the guy talk and said, we got your $12,000 cash. It's right here. Where can we drop it off? And oddly enough, they probably would say, well, we need it in gift cards. And the reason they do it in gift cards is because they can put the numbers down and you don't have to get the cash. So, but telling them we have the money, that would make them have to go get it. But they're probably not anywhere near there. They're probably not even in the United States. And they can, the scammers, you've seen those TikToks where those guys kind of scam the scammers and they were able to hack into their computers. They do this shit from computers. They do and then you get these IRS calls all the time. There's going to be a warrant out for your arrest. You can resolve this by, paying whatever amount of money, and it's not the way the IRS works.
Brock, now facing multiple charges, including murder, appearing in an Ohio courtroom Wednesday where he entered a not guilty plea.
So his bail, I guess, was $200,000, which on a murder case is pretty low, but in my opinion, it's a little high on this guy. My guess is the guy has no criminal record, and the facts of this just scream out leniency, don't they? I mean, you feel absolutely horrible for this Uber driver and her family. She got scammed. He got scammed. He was afraid. I'm telling you, when you're elderly and living on your own, it is a different animal because you're vulnerable on a multiple of levels, physically, a little bit emotionally and mentally. And I just feel bad for this Uber driver. But I also feel bad for this old guy. I mean, what are you going to do? And so now he's facing homicide charges. My guess is they'll fashion a remedy that won't put him in prison. Sometimes we have these kinds of cases. Like, for example, there's be mercy killings. You ever seen those where the wife has some terminal illness, and then maybe they have a pact, and the husband takes her life because she's suffering. We've had those kind of cases. They happen all the time. And so sometimes a homicide is not just an egregious homicide. And I wouldn't put this in the category of an egregious homicide. It is a homicide, and I don't think there's self-defense will apply in this case. But there are mitigating factors. So this is what you call a mistake of fact. And even though there's a mistake of fact here, you have to ultimately look at what's happening on the ground, because she's not armed, and she's walking away as he's got the gun. So I don't think that mistake of fact is going to be, it'll be a good mitigating factor, but it's not a factor that's going to result in a not guilty. I just don't, I don't see it. That scenario does not fit self-defense. And the reason I say that is because, he shoots her in the leg and she's backing away. And then he fucking shoots her 2 more times. And she's not attacking him. The threat is gone, And so that's a little excessive. And I don't think it's reasonable. And that's the word that is going to be bantered about in this case all over the place. So we'll see you next time here at Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers with our content genius, Michael Rivers. Make sure you subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, and if you're a Patreon member, start looking for some content because we're going to put some stuff out there. See you next time here at Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Here's a young kid who's just got his prospects, of a future ahead of him, and now it's all, in his mind's eye, crashing to a halt. And imagine the dread that's going through his body right now. Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board-certified criminal defense lawyer. Today we're reacting to the body cam footage of the arrest of Tony Mitchell. Tony Mitchell is a football player. But before we get to that, guess what? Just guess what? I guess just take a flying guess. This is brought to you by eSign.com. Now here's the thing. eSign.com is an incredible sponsor of our program, and I really do appreciate the sponsorship. But eSign.com is a very effective way to remotely do business. And in fact, I bet you any money Mr. Mitchell, when he's sitting in jail, called his mother, because he's in Florida when he's in jail. You call your mother, have her contact a lawyer. The mom can't get over to Florida. So what does she do? They e-sign a document over to her. They download the app. You get 3 free signatures a month. And then she's able to sign a retainer agreement remotely, and they can go to work. So eSign.com is a very effective way to remotely do business. I use it all the time, and if you have any need to get something signed, e-sign it, because if it's not e-sign, no one signs. Okay, so let's talk about flippant choices that we have in life. The male brain is really not a complicated thing. Wouldn't you say, ladies? The male brain is not fully developed until like 24 or 26 years old, actually. And that's partly because you can't see what's going to happen tomorrow. And the lack of insight is really what gives me a lot of business. If it weren't for drugs, alcohol, and poor decisions, I'd have no business whatsoever. We're going to get into this video. And remember, when you have something to protect, you should make better decisions down the road. And so I want you to think about this. And this is to our young guys out there. You know, if you're a parent, you know, like we did in the last video, I said, show this to your kids. Show this too to your kids. Because guess what? You get in that vehicle and you kind of are partying. You kind of get a high because you get that adrenaline going and you feel like you're, you know, in the zone. Guess what? If you don't have the third eye watching what the hell you're doing, you're going to be like this guy. And it just is tragic. So let's watch this.
Can't do this, sir. Like, that is fun. I'm early.
This is the beginning, and it'll go back. But when you see those flashing blue lights behind you, guess what? Not a good day for you.
That's why I play football.
And you're a tough guy until you all of a sudden realize you're fucked.
That been like, I know, like,
play football for the University of Alabama.
Yes, sir. I know what I got at risk, sir. Like, I did that.
So let's say you're a football player and you've got a free ride to a major university like the University of Alabama. Guess what you do every day, every fucking day? Because if you're an NFL prospect, two things: you got to protect your because whatever comes out of that is going to wind up somewhere that could be really expensive, and then you also got to take care of who you are as a person. The conduct that you have off the field has got to be nothing that will interfere with what you're going to do on the field.
An Alabama football player breaks down in tears after he led cops on a high-speed chase and was arrested on charges of marijuana possession.
Marijuana? Who gives a shit about marijuana? Unless you're in Alabama. Although this was in Florida.
Sir, I can't.
Now that is not a position of strength right there. That's the I know I'm completely fucked look.
Police body camera footage shows freshman defensive back Tony Mitchell and his wild traffic stop on March 15th in Holmes County, Florida. Officials say Mitchell evaded police, driving at 141 miles per hour to escape.
That's what we call an aggravating factor.
When officers finally caught up with him and pulled him over, he denied the escape attempt.
You didn't just run from me?
What? That wasn't me. That was. Are you to believe your lying eyes? Or you're going to believe me? No, you don't run from the cops.
On Highway 79? Okay.
I don't even know where it's at. Like I said, I'm over.
I got you, man.
Body camera video then shows the officer asked Mitchell to place his keys on top of the car.
Yep.
There's a couple of just very common principles. You don't ride if you're riding dirty, you don't have weed going on in the car. You don't speed, and you don't do anything that's going to cause attention to you.
Keep on to the car. Yeah. The keys to the car, yeah. Yeah. Just do me a favor. If you don't mind, just put them on top of your roof so that...
Now, why doesn't the cop have his gun out and yelling at this guy? You know why? Because this cop is confident, and he's being professional.
You can't feel it. Just set them on top of your roof. Yeah, just like that. Yeah. So the ignition won't pick up on it.
It's then that the officer asks Mitchell about marijuana for the first time.
Do you have your medical marijuana card? Do you have a medical marijuana card? Because I smell marijuana coming from the vehicle.
So it's getting less and less that the smell of marijuana is reason to pull somebody over, but even you can't be under the influence of anything, whether it's marijuana or something else. So if you're riding dirty and you're smoking marijuana, that's illegal. And so right now, just about everywhere, it's a reason to expand the search.
Okay. So do you have marijuana? because I smell it.
Actually, he could order him out of the car right now and arrest him for fleeing the police and leading them on a high-speed chase.
Are you having a hard time understanding what I'm saying? Why does
I didn't know why you was asking me did I have a car.
Yeah, because in Florida they do medical marijuana cards, but in Alabama they don't. It's just something I have to ask. Because I smell marijuana coming from the vehicle. All right? So here's the deal. As long as you're honest with me, I'm going to work with you.
That, my friends, is 100% bullshit. As long, I mean, that's something a cop says to kind of disarm you. Oh, you're going to work with me? Thanks, officer. Are you going to pat me on my back and send me on my way? Not going to happen.
But if you're going to lie to me, I have the right to do a probable cause search right now. Okay?
Okay, since you're going to work with me, I've got a dead body in the trunk. So basically what he's saying is, you know, I already have probable cause to search you because you already tried to flee when I tried to pull you over. And so I can search your car regardless. It'll go a lot easier on you if you just tell me. And really, you don't even need probable cause. You don't need probable cause to pull somebody over or to search them. To search the vehicle, all you need is reasonable and articulable suspicion. It's called, well, that's to stop the vehicle. It's called a Terry stop. But in order to search the vehicle, you have to have some rational basis for believing he committed a crime. And there's a lower expectation of privacy in your vehicle, it's called the automobile exception, than you do in your house. So the officer has enough cause right now to search the vehicle because he pulls him over, you know, and he tried to flee, and then now he smells marijuana in the car, so he has plenty of articulable suspicion to search the car.
And I do believe you are the vehicle that just ran from us. All right? I didn't. All right, well, I'm going to take your fob right here and set it toward your trunk.
Eventually, Mitchell admits there is marijuana in the vehicle. After that, officers ask him to step out of the car.
All right, man. So where's the weed at? Now's a chance to be honest with me, partner.
See how calm this officer is? I love how calm he is. I love how reassuring he really is. He calls him partner, you know. And this is good police work here. And this kid looks just like that. He looks like a flipping kid. He looks like a baby.
Okay.
I didn't run from you, sir, because...
Are you sure about that? Because there was two of us there when you passed that church. All right? Just do me a favor, step out. Yeah, step out.
A lot of times when you run from the cops, they get up to here. You know, cops get their adrenaline going, you know, in certain stages. And when you run from them, all bets are off. And they're going to, you know, I think it's absolutely remarkable how calm this cop is after a 140-mile-an-hour chase.
Body camera video then shows the officers searching Mitchell.
Come back here. You ain't got nothing else illegal in the car?
That's everything. Yeah.
Is that everything? Okay. All right. Step back here to the front of my car. All right. You ain't got nothing on you? Yeah. All right. Just put your hands right here for me. I just want to make sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's just
all right, man. Well, just do me a favor right now. You're not under arrest. You are going to be detained. Put your hands behind your back for me.
Sir.
Back corner.
Now, that's really not true. I mean, you're not under arrest. You're just being detained. You put the cuffs on him and you put him in the back of your car, you're under arrest. So you're in custody for sure. So in custody interrogation, that invokes what? Miranda.
Good, bro. Whoa.
When you hear those sound of the cuffs, not a good sound. Because you know the rest of your night is fucked.
Now, if you ain't under arrest, you're just going to be detained because I just chased that car.
As the traffic stop continues, it becomes apparent there's more marijuana in the vehicle.
Okay, that's more weed. How much weed y'all got? How much more weed y'all got? Am I going to find anything else?
Yeah, possibly.
Okay. How much weed is that?
100 grams.
100 grams? Okay. Do you have any firearms?
Yes, sir.
Where?
It's on the side.
It's on the side. Do you have a concealed weapons permit?
It's not mine.
Do you have a concealed weapons permit, partner? Do you have a concealed weapons permit? Where is it? In your wallet? Where's the firearm?
It's on.
And keep in mind, even if he does have a concealed firearms permit, it's invalidated by the use of intoxicants, whether it be weed or alcohol.
The driver's side? Your side?
It's also invalidated by the presence of drugs, like marijuana or anything else.
Yeah, he said it was on the passenger. That's not your gun? The gun that's in the car is not yours?
Officials later discovered 226 grams of marijuana, $7,000 cash, and a loaded gun in the vehicle. Mitchell's passenger, Christopher Lewis, is also taken out of the vehicle. When officers detain both of them, Mitchell begins to cry.
Can you put him in the back of your car? Okay. Wait, can you put him in the back of your car and search him? You ain't under arrest.
I love how calm this officer is. He's not yelling at anybody. He doesn't have his gun drawn, even though there's a firearm in the vehicle. I mean, this is the way officers should handle themselves. Instead of being king shit, fuck you, get on the fucking ground, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it's called for, I'm not going to lie. I mean, but it's refreshing to see somebody not going ape shit on somebody.
Now, I'm just going to talk to you, okay? Hey, it's going to be okay. Listen, you're just detained, okay? Just put him back to your car.
Officials speak with Mitchell.
When you see somebody in handcuffs like that, does it feel like you're under arrest? It probably does.
First, and read him his Miranda rights.
I just got to read this to you. It's just our policy because you are in handcuffs, okay? Then the lieutenant here will...
Yeah, you're in custody, so interrogation. I got to read you Miranda.
Answer any questions you may have, all right? All right, you do have the right to remain silent. If you choose to give up that right, anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to have an attorney with you prior to, during, or after answering any questions.
After that,
you also have the right to reflect on how f***ed you are and how you just destroyed your future by making a really dumb decision tonight.
Mitchell tells investigators none of the marijuana is his as he continues to break down in tears.
I'm normally a pretty decent judge of character. This isn't you, right?
Yes, sir. None of that is us.
And here's the thing. If that really isn't his weed and that really isn't his gun, that's fantastic. Then his prints aren't going to be on. But he's guilt by association. You know, you got to be careful of the people that you keep because you are the people that surround you. And you can get painted with that brush.
I really can't even talk right now because,
and you don't have to talk, man.
God, I love this cop. This cop is so cool. So cool, so calm, super effective. I'm not saying like I love cops. I mean, I don't dislike cops, but I love the style of this cop because it's not confrontational. I mean, he sees this kid with a future that's really made a bad choice, being with the people that he was with.
That's odd. I swear,
I heard you say your buddy earlier that you couldn't call you daddy. All right, listen, I'm a daddy too. I'm going to tell you you can call him. He might be mad at you, but you can call him.
Do this, sir. That is fun. I'm an early freshman. I played football in Alabama, and I know
Played football for the University of Alabama.
Yes, sir. I know what I got at risk, sir. I didn't have none of that stuff on me, sir.
You think that other boy's actually going to step up and say what's his?
Hopefully the other guys take responsibility for the weed if it is theirs. But one of the things they'll do is they'll test the packaging for DNA and fingerprints.
Yeah, I know that's his gun too. I could tell because you didn't know what it was. The look on his face when you said gun told me you didn't know there was a gun in that car.
That's a good fact.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right, man.
All right, man. Listen.
I mean, here's a young kid who's just got his prospects, of a future ahead of him. And now it's all, in his mind's eye, crashing to a halt. And I mean, imagine the dread that's going through his body right now at that moment. Not to mention the fact that he's got to tell his fucking dad, and he knows that his dad is just going to light him up like a Christmas tree.
What's your first name?
Tony Mitchell.
Tony's money is in that car. Because there's thousands of dollars in your car.
I had $1,000. I had $1,000 personally. All the rest of the money is his, though. Like all the weed, the gun, all the money besides $1,000 was mine. And it's my car. Like that's a brand new car that I just got for my recent birthday.
Okay. Like, we can tell it's a new car, and it's fast too. We get that.
It's fast too. I can tell it's fast. It goes at least 140 miles an hour.
And here's the thing. We're gonna give dude a chance to step up and say that's his. Who do the pills belong to? The panic disorder pills? Are those yours or are those his? They're not a controlled substance. I just need to know if those are actually yours if you have a prescription, or if those are his. They're green pills, lime green colored pills. They're for anxiety or.
I ain't seen those.
Whose shoes are in the back of the car? The black shoes.
Those mine, and I had the pair of Jordans, the Nikes, and the black shoes.
Okay. Inside those shoes was a bag, and it's got some lime green. You can go get them.
Mitchell later tells officers it was Lewis's idea to, quote, punch it and speed off from officers.
Well, can I ask you a question? Yes. And I'm not going to charge you for it or anything like that, okay?
I'm a lieutenant, man. You got our word.
I'm not going to charge you for it. Were y'all thinking about possibly running again on me? Whenever you turned down Indiana? Why did it take so long to pull over, man?
Are those yours or
Sir, like, hey,
was he driving or was it you?
I was driving. I was driving.
Okay.
So he admits to fleeing from the police.
But like, what I was gonna say, like, I ain't never been in this like situation before, and like with everything he had, he was just telling me to go and like I ain't.
So.
And one of the things that happens so often with young guys like this, especially if you're with people that you care about or that you look up to, or maybe they're older or whatever, you get into, and you're not like he said, has never been in this kind of situation. So the other guys, I don't know if they have a record or not. I'm guessing they might, and so punch it, you know. So you're gonna, that split-second decision to just take off does not help you, because let's say he has a defense to the drugs and the gun. Say, that's not my shit. That's his shit. I didn't even know it was there. Let's say you had that defense. You still got a felony fleeing that you do not have a defense to at this point. Because here's the thing. Even if the reason for the stop is illegal, it does not give you the legal right to take off and flee the officer.
You just panicked and punched it. Bro, it's all right. I'm not going to charge you for it, okay? Because you're being honest with me. I will say, you outran me. Like, pretty bad. That Hellcat.
I ain't never drove that car.
It's not a Hellcat, actually. It's not?
It's a Scat.
Oh, is it? Okay. I thought it, because, man, I could hear you whenever I turned around, you gunned it, and it's just that. Yeah.
And here's the thing. The officer may or may not have any sway over whether he gets charged with fleeing the police. You know, you could argue that I saw you back there. I wanted to get away from you. You weren't trying to stop me at that point, so I just took off.
Well, man, I ain't gonna charge you with pleading the loot or anything like that. Okay, I appreciate your heart. Yeah, I will have to. I might possibly have to tell it, but I ain't gonna seize it. Okay.
God, if this cop is being truthful, he's giving this guy a real break. And let me tell you something about athletes. Athletes definitely get a break sometimes. And maybe they should, because they are doing something very pro-social, being in the football team, being in college. But they do get a break, and they get a break on campus a lot.
But
you gotta get told.
It may. Yeah, we don't know. It may. But regardless, you're still going to be able to get it back. I'm not holding it. I'm keeping it from you.
As the discussion continues, Mitchell asks what will happen if his friend admits to everything.
I got a question.
Yeah, man.
Say he did like own up to everything, like would I be
If he owns up to it, it's going to be his decision. But if he owns up to it,
But like, if say that was to happen, my car would still have to be towed.
Well, listen, we'll go from there, but I can tell you are under the influence of marijuana, so I will not let you drive it. But we will call your parents, or we call somebody to come get you in the vehicle. I know that sounds bad, but well.
And one of the things you probably sign when you are a prospect or recruit is a no-use contract.
I'll be honest, man. Whenever I first looked at you, your eyes are red. Yeah.
See, how about that?
So, but
we'll check you out, man. Do me a favor,
let's figure it out.
I know you're having a hard time, and I understand where you're at.
But when officers speak to Lewis, they hear a different story.
What about the marijuana that's in the vehicle?
It's
Is that
his.
yours or his?
I was just a passenger. I just got in the car with my...
I'm just a passenger. I don't know nothing about no marijuana.
So you don't know nothing about the marijuana? What about the firearm?
I don't know who got in here.
So when you're driving a vehicle, you are responsible for the contents of that vehicle. And it's sort of assumed that you know what's in the vehicle. There's two kinds of possession. There's constructive possession and actual possession. Actual possession would be where you have something on your person, like you have some drugs in your pocket. Constructive possession is where it's near you, within your dominion and control. That is what they call constructive possession. So even if you didn't know it was there, but it was within your reach and you had exclusive dominion and control over that area, you could be perceived to have constructive possession over that area. Now, they're going to do DNA testing, or I would hope they would do DNA testing, certainly fingerprint testing, on the packaging and on the firearm, and we'll see whose DNA is on that.
Y'all know whose gun that is?
No, sir.
Oh.
And you look at how Mitchell is just totally bawling his eyes out because he knows what he's about to lose, and this dude is a little more cold. And I'm just calling it like I see it, but he seems like he's more full of shit.
Because he's saying it's not his.
It's not mine.
Okay, he's saying the marijuana's not his either.
It's not mine.
When officers report this information back to Mitchell, he breaks down once again.
Unfortunately, he's denying. I'm not charging anything with the gun. He's catching the gun charge, but he's denying the marijuana.
Sir,
okay.
I swear on my life on everything.
There's nothing I can do on that, okay? Because it is a felony. I have no discretion over felonies. With the pills, that's possession of new drug. That's a misdemeanor. I can work with that, okay? But I cannot work with a felony. The state of Florida does not allow me to.
Felony? Who's the felony? What you mean by that?
That much marijuana is a felony in the state of Florida, okay? It's possession of marijuana with intent to distribute. Y'all have almost a pound, okay? So he's not taking it. I tried talking to him, so is the lieutenant, okay?
Sir, please.
That's all I'm charging you for.
Sir.
But I ain't got...
And all the pleading in the world isn't going to change the situation, but it's, it's sad to watch him go through this, isn't it, guys? So as you're watching this, think about decisions you're going to make tonight or tomorrow. Just think about where you're going to go, what you're going to do, what your car's going to smell like as you're driving down the flipping road.
Sir, sir, please listen to me, sir, please.
Dude, I understand. Trust me, I get it.
No.
This is the last thing I wanted to do, okay?
No, sir, I can't, sir. I promise you, this is mine, sir. I can't ruin my career, sir. I promise. I'm sorry.
All right, well, I understand, Hood. Just sit tight. Let me talk to the lieutenant.
What is the evidence of intent to sell or intent to distribute? The intent that's inferred by two things. One, the quantity, and then they also have a scale. Okay, you saw what happened on the side of the road. Now here's the logical consequence of what happened on the side of the road. This is Nick Saban, the coach.
Tony Mitchell has been suspended from the team on all team activities until we gather more information about the situation and what his legal circumstance is. And, guys, everybody's got an opportunity to make choices and decisions. There's no such thing in being at the wrong place at the wrong time. You got to be responsible for who you're with, who you're around, and what you do, who you associate yourself with, and the situations that you put yourself in. So it is what it is, but there is, cause and effect when you make, choices and decisions that put you in bad situations. So
that's exactly right. There's cause and effect. You push here, this comes out here. You decide to fuck around on the street, and then you find out, from the coach. And I'm not taking any glee in pointing this out, gentlemen. You need to know that what you do affects you tomorrow. And so I am not trying to. You know what? Fuck it. I'm preaching. I'm absolutely preaching because I don't want to see people repeat these mistakes. I mean, it's how I make my living, obviously. But guess what? This was so preventable. It was preventable because I don't know where this case is going to wind up with Mitchell. I don't know if what he's telling the cops is true, and if the prints aren't on the gun, or if his DNA is not on the gun, if his DNA is not on the packaging, if his DNA and prints are not on the scale, then he's got a shot. But something tells me it's going to be, because there's just no way that you're in a car with these guys and not know what they're doing. I mean, it just defies a little bit of logic. And when you have built a future NFL career, you're top prospect, you gotta have more presence of mind to make better decisions. So this is our preaching moment here at CLR, Bruce Rivers. So just make sure that when you go out tonight, tomorrow night, the next night, whenever you go out, you do so with good decision making in mind. I know I'm preaching, but it's only because I give a shit about you guys and I don't want to see you in harm's way. So, with our content genius behind the camera, Michael Rivers, and this is Bruce Rivers for CLR. Make sure you subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, sign up for Patreon, and we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. This is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board-certified criminal defense lawyer. Today we're reacting to the news, breaking news about Alec Baldwin. But before we get to that, this episode, like all of them, is brought to you by eSign.com. eSign.com is an effective way to remotely execute documents so you can get your project or whatever you're doing. Let's say you're on the set of Rust and you need to settle a lawsuit quickly and you don't have time to get in to get the paperwork done, but you can do it online. Go to eSign.com, download the app, and you've got 3 free signatures a month in order to have clients sign retainer agreements or plea agreements or whatever you got. You can use eSign.com. It's an effective way to remotely execute documents. Alec Baldwin is the producer of the movie Rust. Alec Baldwin was involved in an incident in New Mexico, Santa Fe, New Mexico, where he's shooting the movie Rust. And during the shooting of that movie, he was practicing his cross draw, basically. We demonstrated how that worked. This is a replica of an 1873 Peacemaker. And we're going to take an approach to this firearm and analyze what Alec Baldwin says in his video. Whoever the armorer was had to load it similar to this. Alec Baldwin claimed that he pulled the trigger back and it just went. You can see by pulling the trigger back, there's a click. You cannot fire this gun. I'm pulling on the trigger right now, and you cannot fire it. The first click is a safety. Pull it all the way back, then it fires. One click, it doesn't fire. Pull it all the way back. So then, once you fire the weapon, the only way to make this spin, you got to put the safety back on. He claimed that he cocked the gun back, but didn't pull the trigger. Well, we demonstrated that when you take this exact same firearm and you take the first cock, it is a safety. And it's got a second position that's all the way back, and the only way that hammer drops down as if you pull the trigger. Now, he's given a lot of conflicting interviews. Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, David Halls, and Alec Baldwin all are being charged with the crime. David Halls already took a plea agreement for negligently handling of a deadly weapon. But Alec Baldwin and Hannah Gutierrez-Reed are going to be charged with involuntary manslaughter. Now, Alec Baldwin gave a lot of conflicting statements, but here's what you have to prove in order for them to be guilty of involuntary manslaughter. Manslaughter is basically a negligent killing. There's no intent involved. Involuntary manslaughter consists of manslaughter committed in the commission of an unlawful act not amounting to a felony, or in the commission of a lawful act that might produce death in an unlawful manner or without due caution and circumspection. Now, it's that last part that we're talking about, without due caution and circumspection. Now, manslaughter by itself is basically where you have a risk and you consciously disregard it. But there has to be, it's called criminal negligence or culpable negligence. And you have to have some kind of appreciation for what you're doing, right? And so you're handling a firearm, but do you know that's a firearm? In other words, the defense is going to be that, look, I thought this gun was not loaded. The opposite side of that is every gun should be treated as though it is loaded. Andrea Reeb, one of the appointed prosecutors in this case, said if any one of the three people, Alec Baldwin, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, or David Halls, had done their job, Helena Hutchins would be alive today. So you have this duty, right? And you have this duty to protect somebody. And in this case, there's a breach of that duty. And what you have with Mr. Baldwin, it's kind of a very complex situation because, yeah, it's a movie set. And so the standard to carry here on a movie set is that you never point a firearm at somebody. And if that is the standard and you breach that standard, no matter what the facts are, if it's determined that he's breached that standard, then he's going to be found guilty. But there is a high bar here, because remember the proof is beyond a reasonable doubt. And if he thinks he's got a dummy round in there and he's going in front of the camera and doing what he's supposed to do for the shot, he doesn't have an appreciation of the risk. That is going to be the defense. You have to have a conscious disregard. The other thing they said was a review of the evidence in the case shows a clear pattern of a criminal disregard for safety on the film set. That's what the prosecutor said. Now, he was holding a .45 caliber pistol that fired a live round and it killed her. Let's take a look. There's a video here. Let's just take a look at this video and we'll react to this. Now, what he's doing here, he's sitting in a chair and he's got his hand in his coat, in his right hand. So he's basically pulling the gun out like that. Now take a look. There's a critical moment here. Make sure you notice where his finger is when he pulls it out. See? Now let's stop it right there. Now you can see his hand is on the trigger. We'll go back and take a look at some of the things that we talked about earlier. But this is one of the things that you don't do when you have a criminal case pending. You know, when you have a guy like Alec Baldwin who's a very public figure and wants to get out ahead of something and wants to get a statement out and do the PR thing, you don't do that. Why don't you do that? Because he put out a statement about where his finger was, how he didn't pull the trigger, and
tilt it down a little bit like that, and I cocked the gun and I go, "Can you see that? Can you see that? Can you see that?" And she says, and then I let go of the hammer of the gun and the gun goes off.
Okay. Can you see that? Can you see that? Can you see that? And then I let go of the hammer, and it makes him look like a liar. Because where's his finger in this video? His finger is on the trigger. And I guarantee you, when he was doing this that caused the death, his finger had to be on that trigger. And so when you're lying about that or you're making stuff up to make yourself look better, you don't get the benefit of the doubt when it comes time for trial because they jam that shit up your ass. So if you recall, I predicted a while back that he would get charged. And I thought it would be insane if he didn't get charged because he's the one holding the gun. He's the one that fires the gun. He's the one that caused the death of this woman. Not intentionally, but in kind of a reckless way. And if all the steps that normally, like the prosecutor said, if everybody would have done their job and done it carefully, she'd still be alive today. And so I don't take any glee in knowing that Alec Baldwin's getting charged. I don't take any glee in knowing that I was right. But I do think it's instructive to watch this video to see how he actually did what he did, because this is the best evidence, right? And so, but if you're handed a gun, and I think they say cold gun or something like that, you know, they tell you what, you know, or if it's a hot gun, you know, they tell you what the deal is. Should you be able to rely on that? You know, but there again, if the standard is you don't point it at anybody, because, you know, that whole Brandon Lee thing, you know, he was shot in a very similar way. If the whole movie standard is you don't point a firearm at anybody, loaded or unloaded, whether it's got a dummy round in it or not, and you breach that standard, then that's a problem. That's a problem for Alec Baldwin. So even if he thinks it's a cold gun, if you're acting not in conformance with the safety standards that are set in place, then I think he's got some real risk of getting convicted of manslaughter. But you have to appreciate the risk. And take a conscious disregard of that risk. And clearly he's pointing it at somebody, and clearly she got shot. So it'll be interesting to see how a jury views this case. So the armorer got charged, David Halls got charged, and he took a plea bargain already. And then you've got Mr. Baldwin, he's now going to get charged with involuntary manslaughter. And what we'll see here is you'll see that I would venture to guess that people will come out and testify about the lack of safety on the set, because I know that was a huge issue, and that conscious disregard is what they're going to be looking at. So this has been our little take on the breaking news that Alec Baldwin's going to get charged with involuntary manslaughter. As this case unfolds, we'll keep you up to speed, and we'll see you next time here at Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Make sure you subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, sign up for Patreon. We'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. And today's episode, I'm really excited about this. First, I'm Bruce Rivers, as you probably know. I'm a criminal defense lawyer, board certified by the National Board of Trial Advocacy and by the Minnesota State Bar Association as a criminal trial specialist. It means I actually go to trial, I go to court, and I actually try cases. There's some lawyers that just show up and hold your hand and then don't do a damn thing. That ain't me. But today we are lucky. We are lucky because, I told you before that whenever we get kind of a deal, we like to encourage sponsors who offer pretty good deals. So if skincare is kind of something that is important to me, and it started being important to me in my, when I started shaving, like in my late 30s or whatever. Anyway, so what I do is, I shave and I put a little bit of this moisturizing stuff on my skin, and what it does, not only does it smells really good, but it calms down your face after you shave. The other thing that I use is this dark circle kind of stuff, and this is awesome. You just put a little bit under here, tightens it right up. So this is sponsored by Lumen, and so what I want you to do is there's a link below. Click on that, and for a limited time, our viewers will get a free sample pack. I mean, they sent me all this stuff, but I use this on a regular basis. So click on there, you get your free products, and then it's a subscription, and they will, if you like it, they'll send it to your house. You don't have to go shopping anywhere, and it all is based upon what you need. I like it on my skin because I don't get red dots from my shaving, and it keeps my eyes high and tight. But there you go. So that's for Lumen, and I highly encourage you to click the link and just get some free stuff and try it. Now, today we are reacting to Alec Baldwin and his one-on-one interview. I haven't seen the whole thing. I've seen some clips of it, so I'm going to watch this interview with George Stephanopoulos. Now, what do you think my advice would be if you've got some pending litigation and possible pending criminal charges? STFU, maybe? Shut the fuck up. Damn straight. You shut your mouth. And I'm going to comment on some of the things he says here in this interview. So let's get right to it.
Which shockingly contained a live bullet.
I'm handed a gun, and someone declares, they said, this is a...
First, you can see he could probably use some of this under-eye cream.
Cold gun. In my years on the sets of film, hot gun meant that there was a charge in there, and cold gun meant there was nothing in there. When he's saying this is a cold gun, what he's saying to everybody on the set is you can relax. The gun is empty.
Okay. Bullshit. There's a firearm, you never relax. Never. Never. There's no such thing as a cold gun. There's no such thing as an unloaded gun. You treat every gun as though it's loaded. Period. Anybody that knows anything about firearms will tell you that. And if you're in charge of other people, you're on the top, because it's your movie, your set, you are absolutely 100% in charge. For him to sit down and do this interview is so short-sighted. He's trying to get a hold of the narrative, right? He's trying to get in front of this thing because he probably knew something was going to be coming out and he wanted to control that. But you can't. You fucking can't. And guess what? Every word he says is going to be something that somebody can use against him in either a criminal or civil context. So let's continue to listen.
What cold gun means?
Well, cold gun means there's no charge in there. There could be dummy rounds.
A dummy round looks like a real bullet, but is completely inert. It contains no explosive charge. And you were rehearsing that scene. Was it an actual...
The reason behind having a dummy round, and I'll show you this right now. If you look, I don't know if you can see inside here, but if you were pointing this at the camera, and you could tell that there weren't any rounds in it, because this gun doesn't have any rounds in it. And so to put the dummy round in, it makes it look like there's a bullet in there, but there isn't. But it's not, like he said, it's inert. It doesn't have any gunpowder in it.
Rehearsal, there's some disagreement about that, whether it was a formal rehearsal at that time.
This is a marking rehearsal. She's got a monitor here. The camera is here filming that way. She's guiding me through how she wants me to hold the gun for this angle. And I draw the gun out and I find a mark. I draw the gun out, I find a cut. And what's really urgent is the gun wasn't meant to be fired in that angle.
So if you're shooting directly into the camera lens, you're not aiming...
I'm not shooting into the camera lens. I'm shooting just off.
Just off.
Right, in her direction.
In her direction.
I'm holding the...
So he's just now admitted to like 90% of the elements of the crime. He's got the gun in his hand. He's pointing it at the person who's the decedent. He does not need to do this interview. It's just so stupid. This is what we call self-snitching.
Where she told me to hold it, which ended up being aimed right in below her armpit, was what I was told. I don't know. This was a completely incidental shot, an angle that may not have ended up in the film at all. But we kept doing this, and so then I said to her, now in this scene, I'm going to cock the gun. And I said, do you want to see that? And she said, yes. So I take the gun and I start to cock the gun. I'm not going to pull the trigger.
So when you cock a gun, and this gun I think is called a single six. So unlike this gun, where you can go, like you push this and this comes out, it has the cylinder stays within the gun, and there's a little door right here, and so you can, when you open the door and then you turn it, and you can put each bullet in as you spin it. So to cock a gun, if you're not cocking it all the way, if you cock it all the way, it sticks. If you don't cock it all the way, and you let it go, there's a danger that it'll go off. And you need to know firearms if you're going to be doing this kind of stuff.
Do you see that? She goes, well, just cheat it down and tilt it down a little bit like that. And I cock the gun and go, can you see that? Can you see that? Can you see that? And she says, and then I let go of the hammer of the gun and the gun goes off.
I let go of the hammer. Well, what do you think is going to fucking happen when you let go of the hammer? Jesus Christ, it's going to fire the fucking gun.
I let go of the hammer of the gun and the gun goes off.
At the moment.
Okay, Mr. Baldwin, can you write me my fucking check, please? I mean, he's got pending litigation. Why the fuck would you put this on TV? If I'm his lawyer, I'm telling him, okay, where's your checkbook? I mean, come on.
That was the moment the gun went off, yeah.
And here's the thing, I like Alec Baldwin. I think he's fucking hilarious as, what do you call it, Donald Trump, and in a lot of the movies that he does, I think he's fantastic. This is such a dumb move. Such a dumb move. Nothing good can come out of this, except for if I'm a plaintiff's lawyer, hey, look at this. We hardly even have to depose him because George Stephanopoulos just did our fucking work for us.
With the moment the gun went off.
It wasn't in the script for the trigger to be pulled.
Well, the trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger.
So you never pulled the trigger?
No. I would never point a gun at anyone and pull a trigger at them. Never. That was the training that I had. You don't point a gun at me.
There he goes. There's another slight little nugget of a fact. The training that I had. So now he's the top dog. You know, he's the producer of the film. He's also the actor now in there. He's got the gun in his hand. And so one of the things that, you know, foreseeability and knowledge, you know, that's one of the biggest things on whether it's civil or criminal. And he just said, with the training that I've had, okay, well, tell us some more.
Pull the trigger. Helena and I had something profound in common. And that is we both assumed the gun was empty. Other than those, you know, dummy rounds.
You never assume the gun is empty.
Or the hammer, bang, the gun goes off. Well, everyone is horrified. They're shocked. It's loud. They don't have their earplugs in. No one was. The gun was supposed to be empty. I was told I was handed an empty gun. If there were cosmetic rounds.
The only reason he's telling you this right now is because he's saying it ain't my fucking fault. It ain't my fault.
With a charge at all, a flash round, nothing. She goes down. I thought to myself, did she faint? The notion that there was a live round in that gun did not dawn on me till probably 45 minutes to an hour later.
45 minutes to an hour?
Well, she's
That's bullshit, because you would see a fucking bullet hole in her with blood coming out 45 minutes to an hour later. See, this is why you don't get on fucking TV and you spill your fucking... That doesn't even sound remotely believable. And guess what? If you're not believable on this, you're not believable on that. You're not believable... And, you know, and it's so fucking tone deaf. It's so tone deaf.
When I go, did she hit it by wadding? Was there a blank? Sometimes those blank rounds have a wadding inside that packs. It's like a cloth that packs the gunpowder. And sometimes wadding comes out and can hit people, and it can feel like a little bit of a poke.
Okay, a little bit of poke or a fucking bullet in the chest. I mean, give me a break.
No one could understand. Did she have a heart attack?
Okay, as blood is pouring out of her fucking chest, I think she had a heart attack. Who fucking believes? And here's the thing, I don't mean to be a fucking dick. Pardon my French. I swear a little bit too much. But I just, as a lawyer, I get absolutely incensed by this because, I mean, wadding? Oh, ouch. Oh. Or, I mean, give me a break, because that's what fucking happened.
Remember, the idea that someone put a live bullet in the gun was not even in reality.
Did you go up to her, or did you back?
Now, here's my theory on this. It wouldn't be without the realm of possibility that somebody would sabotage this, and somebody would intentionally put a live round in the gun. That is a distinct possibility. That's been raised by one of the plaintiff's attorneys. I don't know, you know, I don't obviously, I'm not privy to the investigation, but if you have good protocol, that would be the only way that could get in. But if you run a slip shot operation, which is what people had been saying the day and week before, you have an issue.
And then we were immediately told to get out of the building.
So you didn't know exactly how serious it was?
And finally, one of the police officers at the conclusion of my interview, I was there for like an hour and a half or so, she takes her phone and she slides it across to me. She says, "That's what came out of Joel's shoulder. A .45 caliber slug. It was a real bullet."
45 caliber slug or some fucking wadding. Give me a break. A 45 caliber is big, and it's going to leave a big fucking hole. Come on.
We regret to tell you that she didn't make it. She died. They told me right then and there. And that's when I went in the parking lot and called my wife to talk to my wife.
Director Joel Souza is also wounded. His shoulder hit by the same bullet that traveled through Helena.
She was someone who was loved by everyone who worked with and liked by everyone who worked with and admired.
Now, here's the thing. I'm not meaning to really come down on Alec Baldwin, because I don't like him or whatever. But I'm a little incensed that he would even do this interview, just from a lawyer standpoint. And I have no doubt that he didn't have the intent to hurt or do anything to her. That's not what this is about. I do think that he was negligent, for sure. But whether it rises to the level of criminality would mean whether he's culpably negligent. In other words, more of a gross negligence. And, I think I've told you before about the time where my office partner had a case where his client was a police cadet, and his girlfriend was a photographer and wanted to take a picture of he and his police dog, and he pointed the gun right at the camera, and the gun went off and went right through the lens, right through her brain, and killed her. He didn't mean to do it, and never didn't mean to have the gun go off, but he was culpably negligent, and that means when you're engaged in something so dangerous, but you kind of disregard the danger of causing serious bodily harm or death. So that's what we're dealing with here. Do we really need to see him crying? Honestly, he should not be fucking crying. We shouldn't be feeling sorry for Alec Baldwin, but that's what he wants us to do, and it's a little tone deaf. It really is a little tone deaf. Come on. I mean, give me a break. Sorry. I'm sorry. I have no doubt that he cared for this woman. I have no doubt that he has incredible remorse and guilt. But we don't need to see you fucking weep on TV, so we feel sorry for you.
But admired by everybody who worked with her. There's only one question to be resolved, only one. That is, where did the live round come from?
And that is likely the key question now in the criminal investigation, which is still going on.
So that is not the only one question. One of the questions is who's responsible. I mean, and civilly, who's responsible? He is certainly responsible civilly. Whether he is responsible criminally is another thing. So that's our reaction to just the initial part of the interview. My understanding is later in the interview he says it wasn't his fault. Why the fuck would you get up and say that? That just sounds tone deaf. That sounds like you're trying to cover your ass. Whenever you have any kind of pending anything, lawyers want the first time a jury to hear the story is when you get on the stand, not something that now they can use to cross-examine you with. That's this whole video was really a gift to the plaintiff's lawyers and to the police for that matter. But so anyway, so this is Bruce Rivers. This is our reaction to Alec Baldwin's most recent interview. We'll see what happens as this as the investigation develops. Remember, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, subscribe, sign up for Patreon, and why don't you click the link on Lumen? I think you'll be really happy that you did. You'll get some free stuff in the mail, and I don't think you'll be disappointed at all. I know. Look at my skin. Pretty, huh? We'll see you next time on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts, CLR Bruce Rivers, where I am a board-certified criminal defense lawyer. And what I do is react to drill music, react to news of the day, and various things related to criminal law. I focus on rap or drill music, because there's always something kind of cool and interesting going on in the world of rap music as it relates to criminal law, and that's what I do. First of all, I want to thank our Instagram followers. We're over 10,400 now and going strong. So if you see this, you should go over to Instagram and follow us. Follow us on Twitter. And if you haven't signed up for Patreon, sign up for Patreon, because you'll get advance notice of things. And also, all that money goes to help the indigent. Anyway, so today we're reacting to 30 Deep Grimy Drill Lesson. And I will be stopping this every so often just to give you kind of an insight as to what I think, because just the name of it sounds like you're going to get some lessons in drill. And if you know what drill means, it means taking on your ops, basically. So without further ado, here's 30 Deep Grimy Drill Lessons. One of the things that is a recurring theme throughout the drill scene is retribution. Retribution is a motive for murder. It can be used sometimes for premeditation, evidence of premeditation. This guy did this to you, so you're going to do that to him. That's your motivation and preparation.
Slide. How to really slide. Pass me the fucking cup. Hey, Rod, turn me up in the headphones a little bit, gang.
So now, as with all self-snitching videos, what do we see here? We see some hardware, some really nice-looking hardware here. And it looks like he's got it set up almost like they're ready to rock and roll. And what happens when you've got the hardware and you've got a record? That's self-snitching.
You wanna know the rules to slide? First go get you a ski, then go get yourself a chopper, pull up, hop out on feet. If you see him in the crowd.
And we've got these now. These guys are masked up, so to that extent, you don't know who they are, but 30 Deep Grimy is not masked up, and if they can show that these weapons are real, he's got an issue.
See him in the crowd, be precise when you preach.
If you see him in the crowd, be precise. What he's talking about there is avoiding collateral damage. And I can tell you, whether it's in Minneapolis, Chicago, Houston, Dallas, New York, LA, there is a real problem with gun violence and a real problem with collateral damage. A lot of kids are being killed because of this kind of stuff. But being mindful of collateral damage, somewhat responsible, I guess.
Cause ain't gon' know where hit him once your ass be the same. You wanna know the rules to slide? First go get you a ski, then go get yourself a chopper, pull up.
See, these guys look like terrorists, and I'd rather have them pick up golf clubs, to be quite frank with you.
I'm trying to get your ass some gains and I get smoked like a seed. 30 deep, do interviews, fill out your app with a kid.
So when you watch this video, first of all, I'm going to tell you something. The feds watch this stuff. The feds watch the Instagram. The feds, they're building cases on these guys constantly. And why are they doing it? It's because it's out there. It's out there. It's super easy to do. And what do the feds like more than anything else? Low-hanging fruit. They love to pick on the guys who are, who are the least amount of work for them. And this guy's giving you an instructional video on how to kill people.
I'm Deuce, the general manager, bitch, come get you again. DP employee of the month for some shit he did.
He's employee of the month for some shit he undid. Well, guess what? That is not only self-snitching, that's snitching on his employee of the month.
Too intense, boy, don't get caught in the day. You gotta rap with Big C Murder if you want to a raid. See, I prefer the AOP, but I'ma give you a trade. I fell in love with.
So one of the things that that's really not addressed in some of this stuff, and you can have drill in your ops, and you have the culture of the gangs and all that shit, but whether it's worth it or not, when you look at this, is it worth it? Is it worth it to kill this guy because he dissed you or because he killed somebody else? I mean, I think I've said it before. Where does it fucking end? It doesn't end. Be smart. There are times where I think it might be worth it. Like, let's say somebody raped your daughter, or let's say, I'm not an advocate of vigilantism, but you catch some guy in bed with your wife, bop. I can understand, that kind of stuff. And these guys are young. And like I've said before, the male brain doesn't really reach maturity or is not fully developed until about 24. So these guys are really young, and I know, let's just, like I've said before, let's hope this is art. Yeah, he's talking about ARs and the Drake. The 223 is a round that is about this big. It has very little kick to it, and it goes through a lot, and that's what he's talking about here.
Niggas that be dissing, I'ma double your pay. Then take a bath, fit some bleach, and dump the thump in the lake.
So take it, in other words, he's talking about how to destroy evidence, which, by the way, is another crime. And it's also, if it's found out, consciousness of guilt. So let's say they find some bleach at your house, and let's say they have evidence of you cleaning up a crime scene. That can be just as bad as the crime itself. It's like, oh, they didn't have any evidence, but now they've got you cleaning up evidence, and you didn't clean it all up because you can never get it all. And then he says, dump the thump in the lake. I'll tell you this. You go to the bridge over a river, people can only throw things this far or that far. And it's not that hard to find sometimes. And so, like, how long did it take them to find the car in Miami? They got a tip of where it was, and they pulled it out. So, but the thing about that is, when it's submerged, evidence does get destroyed because fingerprints, DNA, that kind of stuff does not do well in water.
Don't know what hit them once your ass leave the scene. I learned my lesson with them Smitties. I don't fuck with them names.
The Smitties are the Smith & Wesson, which happens to be my preferred model. I like the wheel guns, but because they don't jam.
We had a shootout and she jammed. She don't fuck with me neat. I started creeping with my 40, learned that
Creeping with my 40 caliber.
I'm her icy my team. Before you whack them, beat the scene, make sure you cruise through for me. Then throw that bitch in airplane mode so they can't retrace the dick.
So he's talking about putting your phone on airplane mode. And there are so many different permutations or ways that they can use cell towers. You can put your phone on airplane mode, but the GPS could still be active, and they could still track where you are. So that's not always a surefire way to avoid law enforcement. The other thing is that if you turn your phone completely off, that's also a tell. Okay, so we had Mr. Grimy. He was talking to this person, this person, and this person. Then during this time period when the murder happens, his phone is offline. And then shortly thereafter, his phone's back online. It doesn't work. That shows that is evidence of participation in a crime, because just like the evidence of where you are, where you have actual direct evidence of something, the lack of evidence can also show that, paint a picture. So if you have your phone offline and nobody can see it, that looks suspicious. And it's circumstantial, but it can be a powerful tool used by the prosecution.
Every nigga stat so they can know that you did. Just watch the trenches show you love once they know you were killed before.
So he says haha here, and basically he's telling you to post this shit online so you get some respect, so everybody knows what you did. That, my friend, is self-snitching. He's advocating for self-snitching. And, I just caution anybody who looks at this and glamorizes it, because it is something. I mean, it really is something how he's detailing what the drill lessons. And it doesn't even seem like this is art. It's like he wants people to audition for his crew. But let's hope it's art. We'll just take it at that. But I don't advocate for you to get street cred by posting shit online. We saw how that went for Big Homie. Didn't do well for him on Instagram, or anybody else for that matter, or NBA YoungBoy with him and the guns, and so.
Slide, fill up that clip, make sure you wipe off them shit. Make sure your driver got that wheel in case they get on your trail.
So again, he's advocating to wipe off the bullets before you put them in the gun. That, and when it's pretty rare that you get fingerprints off of a gun, because the firearms are generally manufactured, because you have a grip that generally is not conducive to fingerprints, but DNA is often found on these things. Just like if you handle a bullet, unlikely that you're going to get a fingerprint off it, but you could get DNA off of it. And so if you have a record and they've got the DNA on the bullet, then they've got you in possession of ammunition, which is a federal crime with certain mandatory minimums. And if it's used in a killing, hard to say that you didn't handle that weapon beforehand.
If you crack one of his homies and not him, then oh well. Complete the mission with no witness, I'ma pay you to say. You wanna know the slide first, don't get you a...
I don't advocate for anybody to do this. You gotta be with somebody, leave it alone. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of other ways you can solve a problem. These are permanent solutions to what would otherwise be temporary problems.
Them niggas ain't gonna know what hit them once your ass leave the scene.
So that was 30 Deep Grimy drill lesson. I think, I mean, it's entertaining to watch. I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. I mean, we in America love violence, right? We love mob movies. We love horror movies. We love, the zombie movies. And let's put this into that category. It's grotesque. It's super violent, and it's super calculated. And, if I doubt any of this would ever be able to be used. It looks like he's just making a rap video, a sensationalistic, incredibly cold, incredibly violent rap video, and it probably does. In fact, it does depict how the streets are right now, especially in terms of violence and gang violence, and how cold some of these guys are. And I mean, the killings just happen routinely. Be nice if some of these people kind of came to their senses and figured out another way. But this stuff is popular, and it's popular with the young kids, and it's popular with you guys. Otherwise, I wouldn't have 300,000 followers right now. So we're going to be doing some other things very, very soon, and I'm really excited because I've got a couple interviews I lined up. So what I'd like you to do, a couple things. Comment on what kind of interviews you'd like to see, because I've got some guests that I'm going to do like an hour-long format coming up. And then the first 25 hilarious comments, we're going to do kind of a town hall Zoom meeting, and make sure you get us your email address. So we're going to pick the top 25 comments. We're going to do a live Zoom kind of a meeting or meet and greet. So be super creative, and make sure, if you are watching this, you need to follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, and sign up for Patreon. So we'll see you next time. This has been Bruce Rivers, Criminal Lawyer Reacts.